Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Cosplay Cafe. We're serving up a hot, steaming cup of cosplay, and tonight's episode is going to be out of this world. I am not sorry for that one. That one was gold. But first, here's some words from our sponsors.
Welcome, volunteers, to the first annual Gunner Games. Do you think you've got what it takes to make it in the arena? Want to prove it? On Saturday, May 25th, you'll spend an evening enjoying an elegant meal in Bloomington, Illinois, surrounded by your fellow tributes and potential sponsors. Then, on Sunday, May 26th, you'll hit the Gunner Games arena at Urban Warfare and see if you have what it takes to be the last tribute standing as you tackle interactive obstacles and challenging showdowns during our Battle Royale. Not me, of course. I'll be out of harm's way, cheering you on. See you in the arena, victims. I'm you, victors. Ta-ta!
All right. So tonight's guest is someone that I'm really excited to introduce you all to. She has an awesome podcast, which is really fitting for this theme. Her podcast is called Sci-Fi Queens. She is pretty much an expert on all things sci-fi. And if you all aren't looking ahead, this is the month of sci-fi here at Cosplay Cafe because our next episode will be Star Wars. But this episode is all about all things sci-fi. So whether you're a Trekkie, a Star Wars fan, a Dune fan, or anything in between, or all of the above, you're in the right place. So welcome, Nita. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm pretty good. I am every time I nod, I just feel these
They do, they
bopping. So
kind of
that's
move
good.
around.
So I'm like extra expressive tonight, and it we're in for a great show. We already have people popping into the comments, so I just want to take a moment to say hi to them. Cool Gamer says, "Hey, Cool
Hey, cool
Gamer,"
gamer. How are you?
one of our awesome regulars. Sarah Andrews says, hello, Sarah.
Sarah's my co-host, so you will be meeting her on Friday.
I'm so excited. And then Carl Witzman says, hello.
Hey, Carl.
So, hello, Carl. I adore Carl. Carl is one of my favorite people. He's my biggest fan. But also
Awesome.
he's my friend and I love him. And Laughing Rat says, yo, Laughing
Yo,
Rat.
laughing rat. Don't mess with
And
anyone with that profile.
for real. Also she posts her pet rats and they're adorable. So if you like rats and cosplay, Laughing Rat is definitely the person to follow. And as you mentioned, I will be on your show this Friday. So we're doing a crossover event, which is
We
perfect for
are.
sci-fi.
It's so sci-fi to do a crossover.
Why don't you tell our audience about your show? Obviously it's sci-fi focused, but
Yes.
what all do you talk about?
Okay, so Sci-Fi Queens is a podcast where we explore and we talk about all of the female characters, specifically on every sci-fi platform, whether it's television, in a movie. We've done games. We've talked to authors. We've talked to artists who paint science fiction, fandom type things. Jenny Johnson, if you don't know her, check her out. She's an incredible artist. And we've do anywhere a science fiction female character is depicted, whether if that's a book or a TV and a movie, we're gonna be there. We're gonna talk about it, or we're gonna talk about the lack of female character in a sci-fi, and the development and the contributions of females in sci-fi, as well as actual female scientists. We have a segment specifically dedicated to bring awareness of a different science, a female scientist doing something for the real world today. We do sci-fi book recommendations, and we also do podcast recommendation. If I like your podcast, I'll listen to it a couple of times. And I love to recommend because I think that we need to be supportive of each other, and it doesn't have to be a sci-fi podcast, but if it is, of course, it's always better. But yes, we are very female centered in our um, science sci-fi queen podcast, but we've had male guests on our show. We did a special for Black History Month in February, and we talked all about the female contribution of the Black women contribution in science fiction, and we just focus on the women of sci-fi.
I love that. I I really love that. Our network was founded by a man, but one of his goals was to create a safe place for women in
Hmm.
fandom to have voices, and he specifically made a point to just give us a voice and give us a place where we had shows, and he really nurtured us. And um, so Johnny, our network head, has just been great because he kind of noticed that a lot of fandom spaces were very dude heavy.
Yes, they
So
are.
guys,
Hmm.
well, even I still see comments from guys who are like, "Oh, girls don't read comics. Girls don't do this." I even saw a comment the other day, like 3 days ago, where a guy was like, "Girls don't buy movie tickets."
Maybe in his planet. Maybe his planet is somewhere else. It's not here because we buy movie tickets here.
That's what I'm saying. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah. And what's
Come on.
interesting is that when Sci-Fi Queen started, we were part of a network as well. Now we've separated and we're independent, but it was the male showrunner at the time who came, that was part of Captain's Quadrant, and the showrunner of Captain's Quadrant came up to me and he called me. He goes, "Do you want to run your own podcast and talk about women?" And we talked about it, and we're like, "Yeah, I don't want it to be Star Trek centered though, because it will be in competition with Captain's Quadrant. It feel weird." And we we really
Right.
developed the show together, but it was his idea to give a voice to women. So I think that there's a lot of men who understand that we have been lacking a voice in the sci-fi fandom, in general, whether that's comics, TV, movies,
Mhm.
podcasting, cosplaying, etc. We've have lacked a voice, and
Yeah.
I think it's because it's been socially geared to appear that this is a male-centered fandom, but it really isn't. Sci-fi has always been, it's woke. It just always has been inclusive, always. And it's just a matter of understanding that we're here and we want representation and equal time to talk about the same things they talk about.
Exactly.
Mm.
I mean, women were involved in the first Comic Cons, like, on the board. Women were cosplaying.
Yeah.
Lucille Ball was one of the executive producers of Star Trek.
Well, we wouldn't have Star Trek if it wasn't for her because Gene Roddenberry couldn't get them to make it. And she looked at the script and said, "We know we're doing this."
Mhm.
And they didn't want to. And they said, "Yeah, we are doing this." And it was her fight that made it possible for us to have Star Trek. And look at our many series we have now, so many of them movies, and it's because it all started there. And I think that knowing proper history on what sci-fi really truly is, it's important. We have fantastic sci-fi writers, fantastic sci-fi movies, and some are great and some aren't. Some of the movies we reviewed are like, oh gosh, that was kind of scary, but we do
Yeah,
talk about the character development and how we know when a woman is being written properly or not, and her in development in her character and things like that. So it's really important to have that voice out there.
I agree. I agree. And Sarah, your co-host, Sarah Andrews, weighs in and says, I go to the movies more often than my male friends. Yeah,
Yes.
like
Hmm.
a,
Yeah.
a lot of women I know are at the movies more often, or if they're taking their male partners on dates, they're the ones deciding what
Yes.
tickets we're
Exactly.
buying.
Hmm. And
Um,
hello there, Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Mm.
That's my friend Alex, Alexandra. She loves cosplaying in the Star Wars fandom. I'm gonna show off some of her pictures a little later when we get to the show and
Awesome.
tell portion.
Yes. One of the things about a sci-fi that has always been so uh drawing to me is its inclusivity in all aspects.
Mhm.
And you really can find there's always some kind of sci-fi out there that you can find yourself in it in one way or another. And I really think that they really have strived to improve and to be inclusive and do those things for people. And I think that we tend to forget that because I think that more focus has been given to male characters in science fiction.
I agree. I feel like, well, especially in the 80s, I think of the movies that I grew up with.
Hmm.
80s sci-fi was a heyday for female characters in a way that regular non-sci-fi action movies were not. Eight,
Exactly.
like you had your Ripley, you had your Sarah Connor, you just had women kicking butt
Yes.
and being allowed to be strong
Hmm.
without, I mean, they really were not sexualized to the point they were not made into someone's love interest.
Oh,
They were not.
yes, absolutely. Those are the characters that I enjoy the most because you can really see the character development as a person. And not that there's anything wrong with having love interest, there isn't.
Right.
But when her focus as a scientist in a sci-fi movie is a love interest, well, then why is she there to begin with as a scientist? Just put her in there as a love interest. you know
Yeah,
but if she's supposed to be a scientist or an astronaut or a defender of a planet, then that's what she should be. That's what her focus and her writing should be around.
agreed.
Yeah.
And Ripley is an interesting character because if I remember right, she was originally written as a man,
Yes.
and then they just completely didn't change a thing except cast her as a woman, which I have mixed feelings on doing that sometimes, but in that case, it worked really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are times when I feel like a character, like I feel like you can't do that all the time though. Like
No, you
you have
can't.
to acknowledge
Hmm.
the nuances of gender,
Like
but
Kira
in
from
that
Deep
case,
Space Nine, when none of us that have read the script, she goes, "Are you sure this is the character you want me to audition for? Because this sounds like a man. This sounds
Yeah.
like it should be played by a man. This sounds like it's written very male." And if you see her character, it tends to soften eventually. I think the writers kind of get it. Um, and
Mhm.
you see her development, you see all the facets of who she is. Um, but she starts out a little rough on the edges, and I think that ideally it's because of her past. Coming from a war, she's really tough, rough around the edges,
Yeah.
no room for anything else. And you see her grow and develop into this amazing person, amazing leader, that she is in Deep Space Nine. And it's, you know, you definitely can see the writing changing. Definitely.
Which
But
is
yeah.
also
Mhm.
great.
Yes. But it's like you said, that whole writing a male character and then saying, "No, we're going to put a woman to do the part," doesn't always work, because you'll have moments like Kira reading this script going, "Is this really for me?" It
Yeah,
doesn't fit the character you're trying to present me with. But I think she
right.
definitely kicked butt on that one. She was incredible as Kira. I love Kira.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I also, on the flip side, I love Janeway because Janeway's a badass, but she also has a strong feminine side,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no apologies for it. She's not ashamed of it. She
Yes.
just is unapologetically feminine, but that does in no way impacts
Mhm.
her ability to be a leader, her ability to make the hard decisions. There are times when Janeway is a downright hard ass.
Yes, absolutely. And I agree with you. Janeway is an amazing character to look at because she has her soft side where she's loving and caring. And you see that from the very first episode. She's talking to her fiance. She goes, "You're never bothering me, only in the way you like me." And there's this interaction of intimacy between them. But then when you see her having to take command and make decisions and go, "I know Starfleet said it's okay to call sir, but no, just call me captain." You know,
Yeah.
and making sure she's got her boundaries set, making sure that people know she was tough, and she wasn't a big woman. You know what I'm saying? She's just an average height woman, kind of tiny, you know. And
Yeah.
but her presence, her persona, is commanding, and there was no question who was captain and who was leader, and she did it in a way where she can do it and not lose her femininity. She was very mothering uh to Kim, I think, because this is his first, away mission, and he's lost in space, and his parents, he can't communicate with him. And I think she kind of felt like she had to take him under her wing in a motherly kind of way. And I always felt like they had this special bond. And she was able to
Yes.
convey that, but also stand next to Chakotay, who was a captain of the Maquis and a
Mhm.
leader in all his rights, and go, "You're under my command now."
Right.
And that's that. I mean, she squared away with Tuvok. You don't do that unless you're
For
secure.
real.
Yeah. I mean, and you
She
see those things, and you see that in Star Wars as well. You see where, you think of Princess Leia as this delicate flower. She was a warrior. She was a warrior.
totally.
Okay, we always
She
picture Princess Leia in the gold bikini, tied up and capped, but she rescued them multiple times throughout several different movies. She didn't need anybody to rescue her. She could handle her own. And
that
these
was
are
her Hut
characters.
Slayer
Yes.
bikini.
Yeah.
She
And
literally slayed Jabba the Hutt while wearing that bikini, so,
exactly.
you know
And it
what?
kind of gives you that sense of, "I am woman, hear me raw," Um, I
Mhm.
can defend myself and take care of my home and make dinner if I have to. And that's okay because I'm multifaceted. And that's the thing about women that we need to know is we're women are multifaceted. We can be
Yes.
nurturing and commanding at the same time.
As Sarah
Yes.
says, Leia was
Yes.
a badass.
She
Leia
absolutely
is my
was.
favorite.
Mhm.
One of my favorite characters of all time,
Oh,
honestly. And
absolutely.
so Carl Witzman says some people are still stuck in the stereotypes of the 1950s and
Mhm.
60s, but Sarah says probably farther back than that. And then Carl says, right, Sarah, back in the 1940s, science fiction was all written by men and read by men. Now, I wouldn't say it
Exactly.
was only read by men, but it was really hard for women to get a voice in that field just because
Yes.
publishing was gate kept. And like
Yes.
Carl's saying, it was only later that women got a chance to break into the field. Carl knows. This is
Yeah.
why I love
And
Carl.
he's absolutely right. A lot of times, you know, these people could have been reading uh, writings from women, but they had to change their names because they weren't going to be published.
Hmm.
With names like Mandeline and Carolyn and Carmen, it's not going to happen. The editor's like, change your name. It's not going to happen. We're not going to publish it. Which is kind of sad because there you go, having this beautiful fandom being gay kept. There are women ghost writers too. Yes, absolutely.
And then Carl mentions Dorothy Fontana went by DC Fontana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there a lot of women secretly writing as men because that was the only way to get published.
Yeah.
Even today, there are women who will publish under men's names because that bias is still alive and well,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately.
Yeah. And it's easy for us to sit here and say, "Oh, they should just publish under their name, fight the bias." It's real easy to say that when you're not trying to figure out how to put food on the table for your family. And you're
Yep.
like, "I need to sell this book to pay those bills." So you do what you have to do, ladies, because it's really, think about it. Is it fully our responsibility to open up those doors? Not 100%. Those who are in a place of privilege that can do that, I say do it. But if you can't, you can't. You got to do what you have to do to be successful and to take care of yourself.
Yep. You pick your
Mhm.
battles. You always pick
Absolutely,
your
you pick
battles.
your battles.
So on a different note, we've talked about a lot of awesome sci-fi women in sci-fi. Which ones do you like to cosplay most?
You know, I started cosplaying not too long ago. Even though I always liked the idea of cosplay, um, growing up was something that I was always afraid to do. When you don't, you when you misunderstand what cosplay is and you don't have guidance, you miss out on a lot. I used to think that you had to be identical to that character so no one looked like me, so it was hard growing up. I was like, I can't do this, go to conventions, everyone looked like the characters, so it wasn't something that I did. So when I actually started cosplaying was like maybe January, February of 2020 during the pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah, and I started cosplaying then because I got on TikTok and I kind of connected with the Trek Talk community, and they were very encouraging. They're like, "Don't worry about it." And I started to see how all these different cosplayers were cosplaying characters that really didn't. They were even women cosplaying men, and vice versa, and different colors and size and shapes. And I'm like, maybe I could do this, So I started out with Star Trek characters, and I love to just kind of my favorite cosplay that I love to do is my is my Klingon cosplay. Because I decided I'll make up my own characters, because in the Klingon Empire, there is no queen, but she's a Klingon queen. She
I
wears a
love it.
crown and has a bat left. Okay.
Yes.
Because you could do
Look at
both.
this queen. Look at this queen.
You could do both. And I'm still trying to figure out the ridges, kind of working on those. Um, but yeah, she's one of my favorite. I really love to do the cosplay of Laxana. And what I did was that I kind of bought an outfit that that's my elder Klingon.
Oh, I
Where I
love
put on
it.
this old lady kind of robe on, and I got the little curler and the
Oh,
bonnet
it's so
on.
cute.
But Klingons, they're tough to the oldest of ages. Um, but I do like Loxana because she's got the pink wig, curly wig, and I kind of made up this whole Loxana outfit, something similar to maybe what she might wear. She wears a lot of things that kind of look like saris, so I was kind of weary about exactly getting something like
Right.
that. Like I'm trying, you got to be sensitive. So I said, what can I get? And I was really looking at her outfits. So I kind of got, this colorful dress, the pink wig. I love Laxana because she's a tough cookie. She's been through a lot, but she's this beautiful beta set woman. And, she's unafraid to speak her mind. So I really enjoy cosplaying her. One of the cosplays that I did um, also was the Pumpkin Queen. Um, that took
Epic.
a lot of work. So
You look so pretty.
Oh,
I
thank
love
you.
it.
And I watched the Nightmare Before Christmas. I thought she was so fantastic, and I got the book, and I love the book. And I said, because this is from the second movie that's come right after they're married, and I'm like, I need a crown, and that was like my first crown. Once you go tiara, yeah, it's an addiction.
I
And
have
I
a whole bin of them.
Oh
It's a
my god,
problem.
yes, it is a problem. Is she's more I always envision her more like a Raggedy Ann doll. So I figured a straw kind of hair might be good. And this is the first time I did actual full-on kind of makeup. So I bought a kit that's specific to her makeup. So I wanted to work on that. And all of my outfits, I get them from, because I'm plus size, which can be very challenging finding outfits, because a lot of times people tell you, well, if you're plus size, go for custom size. That's
Like, it's
kind
expensive.
of true. Yes, it's expensive. That's the big problem. Secondly, if you measure yourself wrong, the whole outfit is
So
going to be wrong.
stressful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to learn how to measure myself correctly before I even attempt that. But I get all of my outfits from Jude Wear. And they're on eBay,
Ooh,
and they have a Shopify, JudeWearSemporium.com. That's their Shopify outfit. And their outfits are really well priced. They go all the way up to 6X in
that's
in a
nice.
lot of, yeah, and they're really super nice.
They
Super,
look
super nice.
nice.
Yeah, they're
So
very comfortable.
is it Jude, Jude?
No, Jude, Jude, Wear, Wear, Jude Wear. And that's on
Okay,
eBay,
perfect.
and their Shopify is Judy Semporium, JudySemporium.com. And their pre stuff is really great. So that's
That's
something that I
awesome.
really like, and they're not that terribly expensive. So, I looked around, and they could really be expensive, like in the three digits.
Oh, yeah.
And my biggest problem is that I'm short. So I'm plus size, but I'm short. So a lot of times the
Yep.
sleeves are too long or the pants are too long. So I don't really have that problem with her stuff. Not too much.
That's so good.
Yeah. And I figure for right now, until I got like my feet wet, I'm going to just buy stuff that's already been made. Because I wanted to kind of learn more about uh
Mhm.
cosplaying, and I did go to my first con in last May, where
Oh,
and I did, and I got dressed up like Star Trek Lower Decks. And
which I
she
have.
always wears that's yeah, that's one of the Lower Decks outfits. It's the red one. And I put my hair in a
Oh, no, wait, that's the
ponytail.
original series.
Yeah, that's the original series. I put my hair in a ponytail, because she wears it in a ponytail, and it's the whole thing was so much fun. And I went there, and there was so many people who just with different sizes, and nothing was
Mhm.
perfect. Like the image I had of what cosplay was all wrong, and I'm
Oh,
so
good.
grateful that Trek Talk encouraged me to get different uniforms and try them on. And I was all, but at the time of the pandemic, I was living alone. So I was all alone literally for 3 years. I was
So
working from home.
stressful.
It was so boring. So this really
Yeah.
was something that I could get into, you know? So I was able to really get into the different uniforms. I said, I'm my favorite fandom is Star Trek in the sci-fi fandom, and I love
Yeah.
many different sci-fis. Okay, but number one is Star Trek. So I said, let me just focus on the Star Trek, and then after a while, I was like, let's get into the Pumpkin Queen because I really like the movies. I said, let me see what I can do with that. um, but yeah, my favorite, I have to say, I truly do enjoy um the Klingon uniform. And it's a very heavy
Looks
duty
great.
material. Yeah. Some of these uniforms though, I'll tell you, um, I'll only do in the winter because the material is kind of heavy.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. And I was talking to some Klingons in a convention, and they were like, yeah, none of the uniforms are ever lightweight. They are all really thick and heavy, and you will sweat in them. And I'm like, okay, so it's not just me. you know they said makes you strong like a Klingon. I'm like, okay. you know hmm. But yeah, I do enjoy it so much, and it really has helped me grow comfortable with myself, with that part of
Good.
me, which is so much fun. It's something, instead of you sitting there going, oh, I wish I could cosplay, or I wish I could just do it. You're never too old to start. I'm 52. So I started in my late 40s. Okay. Is you're never too
You
late to
do not
start.
look 52. My gosh. I thought you were in your 30s. I thought you
Oh
were
my
in your
goodness.
30s.
Thank you. No, no, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it, but no, I am very proudly 52. So I started in my late 40s. And I truly do enjoy it. Um
Oh,
and I'm hoping to expand my cosplay to other things that I've noticed, that I kind of now have a better concept of what to get. And I'm hoping to maybe one day dabble in making my own uniform. And there is a particular uniform that I'm going to have to make myself if I want it, which is the maroon uniform in Star Trek, the original series. You can't find those uniforms ever. Okay. And I would love to cosplay some Uhura, which is kind of easy because she only wears a top and she has like a black skirt
yes.
on. So it makes it a little easier to, if I can get that maroon material to get the top going and then just put the embellishments. I figure something simple might help
Mhm.
me develop some more skill sets to create other cosplays for myself.
That is a good place to start. I
Yes.
agree.
Yeah, and it's my favorite uniform. It's those maroon uniforms from the original series. It's my
Yes.
all-time favorites. You know, but I'm hoping to do that. Maybe some other characters that I from the original series movies that I saw that I'm like, I think I could do that. I can do that. I'm hoping to, you know, get those cosplays going this year.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Once you start reverse engineering costumes you see on screen, you never stop. It's a sickness.
It's a sickness. It's like the tiaras. I started with that one
Mhm.
tiara that was supposed to be for the Pumpkin Queen. Then I was like, "Ooh, wait a minute. Maybe I could be a Klingon with a crown." And you know, that sounds good. Because to me, cosplay is costume play. You're playing a
Yes.
character. It's just costume play, right? So you can play around with characters. One of my favorite aliens in Star Trek are the Klingons. I love them. You know, but do I want to? There's really no female Klingon that I want to emulate perfectly. So I'm like, I'll create my own. I will make my own.
Hell yeah.
Why not? And I started doing videos on TikTok, and uh, I have to say that I've only had literally a handful of negative comments, which I never post because I don't
Yeah.
want Track Talk will defend me. I have no doubt. And I don't
Oh,
want that
that's so
interaction
good.
and negativity. So I don't post them. I don't allow them to be seen. And I don't engage with them. That's just my preference. I don't engage with negativity. I'm not going to give you your 15 minutes of fame. I don't need, yeah, I don't. I'm only going to allow the positive to be out there. There's enough of that stuff, negativity in the internet. I don't need to be a part of it. So yeah, I'm just going to be a part of the positive, and so I'm really grateful that I found the Trek Talk community. And what's so
I
funny
love
is
that.
that I didn't even know about TikTok prior to 2020, and somebody was like, yeah, I saw this video, and I'm like, oh, well, that's a cute cat video. Where did you see it? I said, let me download this app, and that's how
Oh,
it
no.
started.
That is how it
It was
starts.
supposed to be about watching cat videos and recipe videos, and then I saw Trekkies, and I was like, wait a minute, I gotta learn more. And I started learning more and joining, watching people's lives and commenting and talking to people and getting to know them. And it became a community for me. And people encourage like, listen, just do it. Just find a
I
uniform,
love
do it,
that.
put it on and put a video, and we're gonna support you. And they did. I gotta say, they backed up their words with that.
That is
Hmm.
beautiful. And so this says Kelly G, but this is my husband saying that's a good way to handle it. I think just ignore the negative comments.
Yes.
And sometimes I like to fight people because yeah, I have that side to me. But actually I do agree with that because the sort of people who make those negative comments deeply unhappy. Like, can you
Yes.
imagine looking at someone having fun like you are? My husband says sometimes. Okay, I'm pretty much always down to fight, especially like if someone else needs defending on the internet. They y'all can tag me. I will ride in the battle and eviscerate people with my words. I'm a writer. I like to do this. I take great
Mm.
joy in, but but like I just always think about you look at someone having fun and your first thing is to
Yeah.
pick at the negative. Like, why?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I won't engage because I think that it doesn't hurt me. To be honest, it really doesn't. What
That's
bother me
good.
what other people say or think, you're a complete stranger. Like if I know you and
Yes,
you said those things, that would be hurtful. But you're a complete stranger. But there are people that read those comments and are deeply hurt by that. And I don't want them being affected by that. And I don't
right.
want Trek Talk to come to my defense because I really, they will come hard. And I
Well, and
really don't
that's
need it, you know? But I,
yeah.
I do worry about the people who don't have the ability to walk away from comments like that because they'll say, well, if they're saying that about her, what are they going to say
Mhm.
about me if I do this? And I don't want that to stop them. Don't allow that
That makes sense.
to be a part of your life, you know? Um, yeah. Once you hit a certain age, you truly enter, once you hit 50, you truly enter the I don't give an F about anything.
Yep.
Like that is truly a real thing. You know, it truly is. And
I'm getting close. I'm getting there.
you're feeling it coming, right? You're feeling it coming at
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It comes
Well,
with the
I'm past
territory.
40, so once I got past 40, it's coming.
Yeah, you feel it creeping up like, I care less. I really don't. I care less about that. I care less about that. It
Life
happens,
is
you
just too
know,
short.
which really
Life
works
is
for
too short.
cosplay because you can really go out of town with the cosplay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm just like, "You know what? I'm having the time of my life."
Yeah.
And meeting the best friends I've ever made in my life, like, I'm sorry you're miserable.
Yeah, exactly. Too bad.
And, this popped up a little while back, but Laughing Riot has a book recommendation for us both.
Absolutely.
It Yeah, it's The Feminine Future. It's an anthology of short science fiction stories by women from the 1870s to 1930s to 40s-ish. Okay, I need to read this.
Yeah, I
That
just wrote
sounds
it
amazing.
down and I'm gonna look that up
Uh-huh,
because
uh-huh.
that sounds like a sci-fi recommendation for the podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, one of the
She,
things we like to do is I like to recommend books, but I like to read them, make sure that I'm enjoying them so I could speak on it and give people options as to where to find it, you know. Um you know, audibles, the local library, always promote the local library. You
yes.
know, Amazon books, whatever it is that however I got it, I said, you know, and I'm big if I wish they had more in where I live. I'm from New York, I'm in Brooklyn, and I wish that we had more um secondhand like used store. I like thrift
Oh,
shop. We
yeah.
don't have as many as the South. When I visit the South, the one thing I ask is take me to a used bookstore place.
Those
And
are the
I come
best.
back with yes, yes. And they have the best thrift shops in the shop because you can find some
Oh, yeah.
serious cosplay stuff there, you know. So I
Yes.
always come with lots of room in my luggage, lots of room in the luggage.
Nice.
Yes, because I'm coming back with books and I'm coming back with with a scarf or something that could be used for cosplay, a piece of jewelry, a shirt,
Yep.
anything. You know, because those are the places you want to go if if you're building your own cosplay. If you have a thrift shop, definitely thrift shop it. Don't go out and buy expensive things. It's really not necessary because in pictures it all looks good. The right lighting, you're good. It's golden.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
love thrifting cosplays so much. We have a lot of good ones around here
Yeah.
in Wisconsin, and, let's go through the rest of your pictures, before
Absolutely.
I otherwise I could
That
talk
is
about
my Mariner. That's what I wore
there
for
we
the
go.
cosplay. That's from Lower
It
Decks
was so
Mariner. She
good.
puts her hair in a ponytail. You can't tell there, but it's kind of like a bushy ponytail. And she's always going like
What?
this to her mom every
I
time she
love it.
sees her, the Vulcan with an attitude. So I absolutely love that cosplay. And it was summertime. So that's like, you know, a quarter sleeve as opposed to a long sleeve. That uniform top is very comfortable. And I just wore like some spandex pants and some boots and we're good. That's
That
literally
is
all. The
nice.
only thing that was cosplay was the top and of course the combat that I had, and that was it. You know, and then uh my little dots for my rank.
Oh, your pips.
My
Yep.
pips for the rank. I forgot what it's called. Sorry about that, guys. My pips for my ranks. That was all.
No one's gonna make you turn in your geek card here.
No, that's so that was I absolutely love She-Hulk. I was just finished watching her, and TikTok had this
Look at
great green
that.
filter. So I actually used the
Nice.
green filter, and I said, I don't actually have a business suit because I don't do that kind of work that I would have like a legal
Right.
business suit. So I said, well, I'm just gonna dress up and I'm gonna take my batlet and that works for me. You know, She-Hulk with a batlet.
Yes. Okay, well, first of all, green looks good on you, and second of all, that dress is gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
Very flattering. Oh, look at
My
this.
favorite cosplay, one of my favorites, because Deep Space Nine is my favorite Star Trek series, and
Ah.
Cisco should have been my husband. That's all I'm saying. I'm putting it out to the world. Even though he's in his 70s, I will still take him. Universe, bring him to me.
Put it on here.
And yes,
Let's
and we
actualize it.
needed, and that Niner shirt is super comfortable, and it is a good length. I love it. It's absolutely the best.
I love that. It's very cute.
Thank you.
And
And
then
of course, I had to get my Prodigy um medical uniform with me. So I'm definitely want to do one of the characters, but this time I want to maybe get green makeup instead of using the filter.
ooh,
Yeah, maybe get my hands dirty a little. So yeah, get some of
that's
those
brave.
characters going. Yes.
I love it.
And then is
And
my
you look so cute.
Uhura. Yes, this is the Star Trek original series red uniform. Honestly, I just put some tights and boots with it, and I felt good to go.
You look adorable. Absolutely adorable.
Thank you, thank you. Hmm.
Carl must run, but good show. Have a great evening. Have a great evening,
Oh,
Carl.
hey, Carl.
And Devin Cope says most of my cosplays are from thrift shop. That is the
Yes,
way to go, especially in this economy.
yes, exactly. Exactly. I'll be honest, I did not get any of those in the thrift shop because I felt like I didn't know enough. So I kind of, but Jude Ware really came through. Every
That's
single
great.
uniform I got from Jude Ware. The only cosplay I didn't get from her was the Loxana, the one with the. I don't know if I sent you the picture. I have pink hair, a pink wig, and she's got like
Yeah.
this colorful. I didn't. I thought I did. I'm sorry. Um,
Or if you did, I might have missed it in my
Oh,
downloads.
it's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
No worries, no worries. Um, that was the only one I didn't, but I bought it used, you
Hmm.
know? Yeah,
Also nice.
yeah, definitely. And I got it online, uh, from eBay, but it was used. I got it used because it's for cosplaying, you know, and used is cheaper.
Yeah. Yep.
I just made sure I rinsed it and washed it when I got home, and you know, yeah,
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
And now for the show and tell. So I didn't post for submissions in enough places, so we're a little light in submissions, but I get to show you my Janeway.
Yes. Oh, how beautiful. Look at you.
Thank you. And then this is my whole crew.
Oh, I love that. The entire crew. Oh, you
Yeah.
have to deal with Q. Absolutely.
Yeah. My friend Fred is the best Q. He's fantastic.
He
And
looks
then
good.
yeah, he's great. His so a his cosplay name is Space Pope Costuming because while he was wearing this costume, a kid walked up to him and asked if he was the Space Pope.
That is so funny. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And then this is Alex who commented before and her boyfriend Brendan as Leia and Han, of course.
Excellent. I love the hair. Yes, they look amazing.
Right? They're just adorable. They're super cute. So, those are our submissions for this week. So, obviously, I cheated and snuck one of my costumes in, but that
Absolutely,
Star
no
Trek
way.
shoot was just epic. Like the whole group.
I thought that was
It,
great because you had one character for each bridge officer, which was really good.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a fun shoot. It was very, very fun. And being Janeway was awesome because I grew up on her. My dad was always a big Trekkie. He was also a big Star Wars fan because you can be both.
Yes, you
It's
can.
legal. And I just grew up on Janeway and I grew up on Leia and I got that strong female representation from pretty much day one. Also grew up on Shira and like st- sci-fi just I mean, okay, Shira wasn't sci-fi, but like sci-fi had the strong female representation telling me that yes, you can be feminine and you can be a badass.
Yeah.
And
And she's more fantasy, but I think fantasy and sci-fi is it's a thin line and they can be crossed over
mhm,
quite easily. I think it's
agreed.
yeah. So I would consider She-Ra a sci-fi-ish character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the new one leans a little more towards sci-fi,
Hmm.
I feel like. And Star Wars is more space fantasy, actually. But
It is.
I
It's more
get
space fantasy than science fiction. But I would still
mhm.
consider it science fiction. But just like you, I grew up where you either like one or the other. So I was strictly a Star
Which
Trek.
is so silly.
Yeah. But then you grow up and you're going, really? You can do both if you want to. Why not?
Mhm.
It's okay to do both.
Yes. But I have to say, I would not want to live in the Star Wars universe. I would definitely prefer to live in the Star Trek universe, utopian
Yes.
society versus a society that literally is just constantly at war because one family keeps screwing up the galaxy.
Okay, but all right. I would definitely want to live in the Trek universe, but for very different reasons. I would replicate ice cream for breakfast.
Okay,
Wouldn't
well,
that be
also
great?
that.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Transporters. You want to go somewhere? No subways, no buses, no driving. Take a
Yes.
transporter.
If I had a nickel for every time I said that I wanted to have teleportation be a thing
Yes.
already, I'd be rich.
Yes. Those two reasons.
Mhm. But, yeah, I would not wanna be stuck on Voyager, though.
Oh no. That's a dangerous part of space. I'm good with the Alpha Quadrant. I'm good. And I will
It's
visit
not
the
only
Gamma Quadrant because we got the wormhole to bring us right back.
Yep,
Otherwise, they could
yep.
keep it too. I'm good with the Alpha Quadrant. I am. I'm very good.
Exactly.
We've got replicators. The Delta Quadrant, the
Yeah,
only ones who had the replicators was Voyager. No.
and their replicator was rationed.
Yes, because they couldn't, replace parts and there was a whole thing with that and I'm like, "Oh no." Mm-mm.
They considered flying into a wormhole because Janeway was coffee deprived, and she thought there was coffee in that wormhole.
Listen, oh my goodness, I just spent a week coffee deprived because I ran out of coffee and I couldn't do the groceries delivery until today. So it was like a whole week and a half with no coffee and I ran out of tea
Oh,
in the middle of
no.
it. So, tea gave me a
Oh,
little
no.
kick, you know, but I was like the first
Uh-uh.
thing I did as I was unpacking, the minute I saw the coffee pot, I took one out and made coffee. I just stopped putting everything with I put
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, I understand Janeway. Yeah, I would have flown into a wormhole too. Okay?
Yep, yep. Sarah Andrews, not a Voyager, stick close to home.
Mhm.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, absolutely. Mhm.
It's a fun show to watch, but oh, it was a nebula, not a galaxy.
It
Thank
was a
you. I'm
nebula,
misquoting.
yes, not
Sarah
a
Andrews says
wormhole.
coffee in that nebula. How could I misquote Janeway after showing pictures of my cosplay? I'm turning in my geek card.
No,
I
never,
won't.
never, never. No, no. It's
And
okay
then Sarah,
because oh, Devin knows. Yes,
uh,
absolutely. So yeah, although I do wonder what does replicated coffee taste like? I mean, they do have synthahol, which is non-alcoholic beverages. I need caffeinated coffee, like real
ooh.
coffee.
I wonder what replicated food in general tastes like. Like, does it taste exactly the same?
Does chicken
Or
taste
have they
like
been in
chicken?
space?
Does a pork chuck taste like a chicken chop?
Are we all in the Matrix, and is that why everything tastes like chicken?
Exactly.
These are the real questions,
These
people.
are the real questions we need to answer in life. Are we in the matrix? Is that why everything tastes like chicken? And is it because we're in the matrix that we don't have replicators and transportation and teleportation with transporters? I want to know because if it's the
Yeah.
matrix, y'all can fix that real quick. Just write the
Yeah.
code in, right?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So if we're in the Matrix, I don't actually want to know because I don't want to wake up and have scary robots
I'll tell you,
feeding on dead
2024
humans.
is a big year for Star Trek Deep Space Nine watchers because that's the episode. Remember the episode where Cisco gets and Bashir get thrown back in time? It was to 2024. And I'm going, I rewatched that episode in the beginning of the year and I go, oh my Lord, there's about that many homeless people in like every state. It doesn't look too far off. But I'm thinking, does that
Yeah.
mean we're gonna get some space traveling soon? And some replicators and some transporters.
I
I
mean, they're
hope,
working on the space travel
yeah,
thing.
I hope we get it there without World War III. We don't need that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
From your lips to God's ears.
Yes, we could get there without. We could skip that. Star Trek could keep that one to themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Here's hoping.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of real scientists say that warp travel is really not actually possible. But some kind of
We don't
space
need that kind of
travel,
negativity in our
yeah,
life.
we don't need that negativity. That's sad. That's sad. I want to live a lie. I want to live a lie. I want to know that I'm going to get me some transporters and some replicators, and I'm going to be in warp 9.75 traveling the universe, and it's all good. If it's not going to happen, they'll just call it something else, but it'll happen somehow or another.
Yes. Yep. Well, also
Yes.
a lot of things, there were a lot of things I thought were impossible that we're now doing. So
Hmm.
who's to say?
Exactly. And a lot of technology that they used in Star Trek, even from the original series, you're starting to see that we're using similar technology today. All those geeks who came up with it were influenced by sci-fi.
Which I love. I,
Yeah.
fiction's powerful.
Hmm.
Science fiction is really powerful. If you can dream it, eventually humanity will catch up,
Yeah.
which
Yeah. I
that's
really
one of
believe
the
that.
reasons we love it.
Absolutely. And that is the beauty of cosplaying in sci-fi. Because if you can dream it, you can cosplay it.
Yes.
Hmm. Absolutely.
And I think that's also why cosplay kind of brings out your truest self because you cosplay characters that you see yourself, you that you see aspects of yourself in, or you see things that you want to aspire to, and then it gives you that confidence to be that through
Yes.
you.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think we could learn about ourselves through these characters as well. And when you cosplay them, you sort of embody that image that you have of them, because it's not the actor you're cosplaying, you're cosplaying the character and what they represent.
I agree. I like that. That was beautifully put. And now I'm going to give you the full screen and I'm going to ask you our big question that we ask at the end. So, 1 second. All right. So, Nita, if you could give a piece of advice to someone who's just getting started out as a cosplayer, what would you give them? What would you say?
I would say cosplay without fear. If you want to cosplay a character, don't be afraid to. Don't worry if you look exactly like this character or not, because you're not there to imitate, you're there to play. And you're there to just represent that character and bring honor to a character you love, and only do characters that you really like, whether they're villains you love to hate or good guys you just love to love. Cosplay it. Try to go for things like thrift shops and used stuff, so don't spend too much money on the frillies of it. Shop around if you're getting uniforms. Look and see what's out there. And don't be afraid to ask other cosplayers where they get their uniform, and ask where they get their outfits, or recommendations or ideas, because people in the cosplay community are really open to sharing. There aren't too many people who are gatekeepers, so they're really down to sharing. So cosplay who you love, and don't worry about the rest. As long as you're bringing respect and honor to that character, it's okay to cosplay the character, even if the character is different gender. Even, and I will go so far as say, even if it's a different race, if you're not painting your skin color to change it to match that person, then you're okay. If that's okay. If you're changing it to match the color of race that's real, that's opposite to your own, yeah, don't do that. Yeah, that's a fine line of racism you don't want to hit. Um, with the exception of alien races that don't really exist. So if you want to cosplay a Bolian, go blue. And an Orion, go green. It's okay. Those are good to do. But you can cosplay with honor anyone. I saw this beautiful cosplayer. He's getting ready to cosplay Janeway. He's African American. He's got the hair down. He's doing his makeup. He's actually doing a live while he's doing it because he loves the character, and that's okay. So just do the characters you love with honor and respect.
Sarah says it best. Sarah Andrews says good advice. And you know what? I agree. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect advice. So thank you for that. And on that note, where can people find you?
They can find me under Sci-Fi Queen on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, now X, even Snapchat, and all the social medias, thread, under Sci-Fi Queen. But my
Perfect.
cosplays are mostly on TikTok.
Yes. And people should definitely follow you, and they should definitely follow you on YouTube so they
Yes,
can get more of your show because
absolutely.
your show is awesome. And they should follow you on TikTok because your cosplays are awesome. So,
Thank you.
and if anyone wants to follow me, if you aren't already, I'm Phoenix Sisters Cosplay most places, Cosplay Cafe, also most places. Or you can go to my website, kellyguentner.com, KELLYGUENT NER. I can spell my last name.
Are you sure?
It's been a long day. It's been a long week already,
It
is what
sure
I can
has
say.
been. Hmm.
Yeah, we had a tornado warning yesterday, and I had
Oh,
a sick
that's
child.
scary.
So Yeah, we're fine, but it's been a week. But on that note, yeah, if you want to get information about my books or my cosplay or all the things I'm doing in my little world, that's the place to go. And Nita, thank you for so much for being on. This has been a great episode, and you all can catch me on Nita's show where I will be less tongue-tied and will remember how to spell my last name. Sci-Fi Queen.
I'm gonna have her spell her name now.
Please do. Yeah.
Hmm. Yes,
And
that'll be Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Kelly's gonna join us. We're gonna talk about female superheroes.
which is perfect. I'm very
Yes.
excited. And I've just got one last message from our sponsors, and you all have a great rest of your week. We are obsessed with Belle Polk. For elegant retro fashion and styles ranging from the 20s through the 70s, Belle Polk is the site for you. Use discount code PSC15 for 15% off.